Hello and welcome back to the channel today. My name is Andy and today I'm back with the race roundup from the weekend's Japanese Grand Prix at Suzuka. Obviously a big fan and driver favourite, of course, the Suzuka track, and we're going to get straight into the one and only part from the build-up, which is not really a news story in my opinion. Ferrari changed their livery slightly to incorporate the Mission Win Now logo from their corporate sponsors, which is still Philip Morris. If you don't know who Philip Morris Enterprise people are, it's Marlboro, so they're still sponsored by a cigarette company, and I believe the Mission Win Now is how they're pushing non-smoking products or something, I don't know, but basically it's a subliminal way to get Marlboro logos back in the car without it actually being Marlboro. There you go. Funny how it says Mission Win Now, because that's really what Ferrari need. They need to win now, and as we're about to see, that didn't quite happen over the weekend, because this was nearly pretty much a Mercedes whitewash, unfortunately. FP1, 2, 3 Mercedes topped the timesheets for the full 3 practice sessions. Hamilton took all 3 of them. Bottas took second in the first 2. Vettel only just getting into second in the 3rd practice session, and the first 2 was about half a second down. FP1 seen Gasly get a reprimand for an incident that nearly seen Hamilton go into the back of him into the final chicane, the Casio chicane. So that nearly seen him have a bit of an incident. So that was fun. Alonso had a spin through FP1, and that's seen many people saying, look, he's practicing for going World Rally driving very soon, since we still don't know where the Spaniard double world champion is driving next year. Free practice 3 was a bit more windy, possibility of rain. Hulkenberg crashed for a red flag. That was to see Ocon get a reprimand for qualifying as well, and a grid penalty, but we'll come to that in a wee bit. That was at turn 5. But yeah, it wasn't too much going on within practice. And in qualifying 1 itself, Ericsson crashed coming up the hill, coming out the S's. I think it's called Dunlop. It's the corner most people will remember for being the location where unfortunately we lost Jules Bianchi all those years ago in 2014. He got caught out with a number of things, and Bottas was trying to keep to the left as well, and but the Swede just went wide and the car went into the barrier. That caused a red flag, and a bit of rain started coming as well, poor weather, kicking about in the air. And that's seen Ericsson out, along with both McLarens. The Williams of Sirotkin and his teammate Stroll did manage to get through, and Nico Hulkenberg in the Renault had a shocking weekend, obviously crashed in FP3 and out in Q1 as well. Q2 seen Daniel Ricciardo in the Red Bull out early doors, had a power issue unit, got pushed down the pit lane, and we've seen the clip where they say he screamed in his helmet. It was very audible even with the helmet on. Let's be honest, he screamed fuck down the helmet. It was pretty audible as far as I'm concerned. He was not a happy chap. So he went out in Q2, and he was not chuffed at all. We've also seen Stroll out along with Carlos Sainz, Kevin Magnussen and Charles Leclerc out in Q2, just missing out in the top 10. And in Q3, with the possibility of rain coming, it was what turned out to be the right way to go about it was to get out and get a lap in quickly on the dry tyres. Ferrari sent both Raikkonen and Vettel out on intermediates. What? What's going on? They realised pretty quickly that was the wrong thing to do, straight back into the pits for dry tyres, and then on his fast lap Vettel ran wide at Spoon, and that meant he was only good enough for P9, because when the time they went out for their second runs, it was just not the right conditions. It started raining a little bit and the track had gone. Hamilton put in the best lap of the session, the new track record as well, and he took, I believe it is now his 17th 20th pole position as he continues to stretch that record of pole positions overall. Bottas was second, and it was Verstappen third, Raikkonen fourth on the grid behind Verstappen, with both Toro Rosso 6th and 7th with the new upgraded excuse me, Honda engine as well. Vettel, as I say, P9, it would be P8 as Ocon would get a grid penalty for that red flag. He was going too fast when the red flag came out. They're given a delta, obviously, a bit like when the safety car comes out, and when that happens it's usually pretty much a slam dunk when that happens. On to the race itself, and it was a pretty even start up front, but Vettel got an absolute lightning start from P8, quickly past the Force India, quickly past the Toro Rossos, got past Gasly, he was up to P6 pretty quick, and he was actually up to P5 before the end of lap 1, getting past Grosjean as well, so he was really on a charge pretty quickly, and he only had the two Mercedes Verstappen and his teammate Raikkonen ahead of him, so he'd done what he needed to do, and he made sure to do it very quickly indeed. So it was really good. And then at the end of lap 1 we seen Verstappen run wide at the chicane. He rejoined over the curb, so tried to get back onto the track as quickly as possible. He could quite easily just run straight over the AstroTurf. He didn't, and because of that, obviously he didn't quite have the full steering. Raikkonen tried to go around the outside, obviously Verstappen coming back on with limited steering bumped into Raikkonen, and Vettel got past his teammate into fourth, and Verstappen would get a 5-second time penalty for that, for rejoining in a unsafe manner. So that was to be a bit interesting later on, but that was it was an interesting first lap to say the least. But Hamilton was up front, he didn't give two damns what was going on. Behind them though, something that was missed was, we did see on the camera going into lap 2, was Kevin Magnussen got a left rear puncture after contact with Charles Leclerc. Now we did see that part because Leclerc went for the right hand side, which was the inside for turn 1, and Magnussen blocked. But what we didn't see, and if you get a chance to see it, do, is coming up to 130R before the end of the lap, Leclerc was ahead of Magnussen, and Leclerc defended the inside line. Magnussen went right round the outside of the Sauber through 130R. I've seen it on the Sky Pad on Sky Sports F1, so I've seen that here in the UK, so you might not have seen it. I've been trying to find it on YouTube but not found it yet. But basically side by side through 130R, and the Dane right round the outside with a brilliant move just before it. So he went from hero to villain within the space of about 10 seconds. So brilliant move. You get a chance to see it do, but he then chopped up, and he wasn't given a penalty. They said that it was basically when the space of one frame is how Charlie Whiting described it, but he's sometimes a bit too aggressive. He didn't get away with this one. He's done it a few times now, Magnussen, and that ruined his race, and he would end up retiring from that, as we'll see later on. But it brought out the safety car because there was debris everywhere with his tyre and with parts of the car flying off. Daniel Ricciardo, starting down in 15th, had already moved up to P10 by the point that the safety car came out as well. Leclerc pitted to change tyres. He went on to mediums. He changed his front wing as well because of the damage, and obviously, as I say, Verstappen got the 5-second time penalty for unsafe rejoining off the track. They restarted the race in lap 7. It was Hamilton, Bottas, Verstappen, Vettel in 4th, Raikkonen in 5th, Grosjean was 6th from Gasly, 7th, Perez, Ocon and Ricciardo in 10th. Vettel and Verstappen then crashed going into Spoon on the restart. Now, what was Sebastian thinking? He knew Verstappen had a time penalty. He knew that he's going to get past at the pit stops. Why was he trying at a fast corner as well? Although it turned out that most people were passing into that later on in the race, but why? Why? He wasn't even fully alongside as well. And for me, it's just another example of Seb seeming to implode as the season's gone on. And it's 2017 just repeating itself. I just don't know what's going on. That spun him round, damage to his barge board, so that wasn't good at all. and he dropped down to the back of the field. No further action happened on that one either. But yeah, just don't know what was happening at all with that at all. Just really didn't know what happened. Magnussen retired by this point due to the damage caused by the puncture. Didn't see too much else going on. Lap 11 we seen Ricciardo up the inside of Perez into the chicane. That was now for P7, and he took P6 in the following lap under DRS from Gasly. Lap 13 Hamilton was on the radio about hesitations in his engine, but as it was discussed, something not really to worry about, it's just something within the engine, so it was okay. Lap 14 Ricciardo passed Grosjean for P5 while Vettel got P15. Both of those moves done into the final chicane. Lap 16 Vettel then passed Leclerc into Spoon for P14, and then Hülkenberg into the chicane on the following lap. Not really much taken from Leclerc, and again, although it was into Spoon corner, not really an overtaking spot. A lot of them were doing it, getting good runs out of the hairpin down towards Spoon. This time he at least did get the car alongside, and Leclerc wasn't just not picking his battles properly, and next year I'm sure he'll be fighting a lot more. Raikkonen pitted in lap 18, went to medium tyres, rejoined in P10, made up quite a bit of ground quickly. Vettel made his way past Alonso, which was for P12 on lap 19, but his super softs, the rear tyres were gone by that point, but he still stayed out for about another 3-4 laps. Raikkonen was making good progress, as I say, and was back up to P6 by lap 22, so it only took him 4 laps to get from P10 to P6, and that was mainly on track passes as well. But due to that, he got jumped in the pit stop phase by Ricciardo, as we're going to come on to in just a second, because he pitted on lap 24 and managed to jump ahead of Raikkonen through that pit stop phase. So that was not good for Ferrari, as their day just got worse. Verstappen had pitted on lap 22. He went onto the soft tyres and rejoined in P5 ahead of Raikkonen, managed to get past Grosjean quickly back into P4. Alonso and Stroll both got 5-second penalties. So this was for lap 1. Stroll went round the outside of Alonso around 130R, went off the track, and then pushed Alonso off the track. So that's what he got his penalty for, was causing a collision. Alonso's was for leaving the track and gaining an advantage. So once he was pushed off the track at the chicane, he just went straight across the grass and just gained the position, never gave it back. So they both got 5-second penalties for that. But that was back on lap 1. We didn't find that out until lap 20 because of everything else going on. Bottas pitted on lap 24 as well, just ahead of Ricciardo. He maintained P2 medium tyres, and Hamilton pitted on the next lap on lap 25. He rejoined in P1, never lost the lead at all. In fact, at one point in the race, he even had to ask his engineer Bono if he was still there, because it had been that little radio traffic at one point between them. Such was the quiet afternoon he was having round the Suzuka track. Vettel finally pitted on lap 27 and went onto the soft tyres, rejoined back down in P16, but he made those super softs last 27 laps plus qualifying, because obviously he would have set him on his Q2 lap. So that was quite impressive. Around about 30 laps it would have been with Q2. But why they didn't pull him into the pits earlier, I don't know. But hey, I'm not a strategist and I don't work in F1, obviously. It'd be nice. Lap 29, we've seen Leclerc go up the inside of Hülkenberg into the chicane. Hülkenberg was also passed by Perez, so this was over P9 at the time. We've seen Vettel stalking in the background. He was up to P13 by this point after passing Ericsson into the hairpin, and he then got Hülkenberg into P12 into the chicane next lap. But Leclerc's move, quite opportunistic onto Hülkenberg. Got it done cleanly, just Hülkenberg off the track. Hülkenberg had stopped at this point, tried to run really long, and you can just imagine what Leclerc could do next year in a Ferrari, because Leclerc stopped in lap 5, so his tyres were pretty old as well by that point, and obviously had his own damage. He actually got punted at the safety car restart off of Ericsson as well, so he had some diffuser damage to go with it, so he didn't have the best of cars himself. Lap 30 seen Grosjean and Hartley finally pit. Grosjean rejoined just as Perez was passing Charles Leclerc into turn 1, so nearly 3 wide into turn 1 at one point. So good job they were all paying attention. It could have been a pretty big crash into there. And I did see Grosjean actually put a post up on Twitter with a picture of that particular point in the race with a thumbs up and tagging Checo into it. Vettel passed Ocon into the chicane, and then Leclerc into turn 1, basically back to back on lap 32 as he moved up the order again. Lap 36, Gasly was into the points at Honda's home track after passing Leclerc into the chicane. Vettel was now into P6 as well, making passes on Grosjean and Perez into Spoon corner. Again, don't know why people were passing into Spoon. It's not normally an overtaking point, but it was working, apart from the one you see on your screen, of course. Hulkenberg retired on lap 39. He had been last. He's only scored 1 point in the last 6 races, the German. Oh dear. Not what we expect from the Hulk at all. Leclerc then retired next lap, pulled off to the side of the track. Something was loose, and it's quite possibly due to the damage he had received earlier on in the race. Caused a virtual safety car, but it was only for a short time. But by this point, Verstappen was only 1 second behind Bottas. He seemed to just really chance the delta during the virtual safety car period and made some time up on Valtteri, who must have just been taking it a wee bit easier. Perez passed Grosjean for P7 during that period as well up the chicane. Grosjean not happy on the radio as he says, how is that possible? I was within 3 tenths of the delta. Perez must have just been right on the money and then just chucked it up the inside into the chicane. Lap 48 seen Bottas going across the chicane, losing time. That allowed Verstappen to get up within less than a second again, but Bottas was quite easily able to pull the gap out again. And then heartbreak for the home fans is on lap 51, Carlos Sainz passed Pierre Gasly for the final point in P10, and it means in the hybrid turbo era, Honda have still not scored a point in any race at Suzuka at their home track. It's always next year when they have Red Bull. But it was another win, and it was nearly a grand slam weekend of pole and win in every lap, and the fastest lap, except Sebastian Vettel decided, I'm going to have the fastest lap, and done it pretty much on the final lap of the race. But it was Lewis Hamilton who can now technically wrap the title up next time out in Austin, Texas, one of the tracks that he's done very well on over the years, as long as he wins and Vettel is not second. And considering the pace the Mercedes have at the moment, there's a very good chance of that. But I think we can all agree that it's pretty much Hamilton's title. We've known that for a few races now. But almost another perfect weekend at 6 wins and 7 for Hamilton, and he said on the radio he loves the track, the car was brilliant, and I've said it a few times now, flawless. When he is on the money, he is on the money, and there's a reason why. Love him or hate him, he's probably one of the best drivers on the grid. He's got the best car, yes, I get that, but he makes it work as well. Bottas had a good race, but he's not quite got the pace of Hamilton. He still had enough pace to keep Verstappen behind him. Even he seemed to just be playing a game where Verstappen closed up and then Valtteri just blasted off, and then he was just controlling it. So that was easy second by the looks of it. Verstappen in the Wars early doors incident with Raikkonen on lap 1 got the penalty, had to crash with Verstappen after Vettel after the safety car. Couldn't stay with Bottas. He did have points where he had full engine mode, full battery mode, and Bottas was able to just go, okay, bye, and disappeared, as I say, so couldn't do much there, unfortunately. Ricciardo was P4, as I say. He made good early progress, managed to jump Raikkonen at the pit stop. So that was really good there. Couldn't keep up fully with his teammate, but P4 will be more than happy with that after starting down in P15 and the frustration after the qualifying. P5 for Raikkonen. Lost part of his floor with the Verstappen incident, so he obviously would have lost some downforce. Lost out to Ricciardo in the pits. He was held up a wee bit by Grosjean as well, so that didn't help. Now he's had to make his way through from P10 to get back up to P5, and it wasn't through pit stops that he was able to make those places up, so that cost him time. Vettel recovered to P6. He lost part of his barge board with his incident with Verstappen. That clash just was not needed. It's just another sign of Seb just wins. when Seb puts a move on sometimes in these situations, it goes wrong. When you see, and I'm going to compare it to Lewis, when Lewis puts a move on, it happens. There's not often nowadays you see Lewis put a move on and it fails. If you go back a few years, yep, you've seen times like that, but nowadays you don't normally see that. And it's just something we're seeing here more and more, and it's the same time of year. When it comes to the crunch, it happened last year. When it comes to this time of the year, Mercedes and Hamilton just seem to find another gear and they just disappear. It's just happening one more time. But he managed to make a good recovery drive again, but it's another mistake from Vettel as far as I'm concerned. And they're going to be looking towards 2019. I've seen it on Twitter. Someone put Ferrari now looking towards how they can lose the 2019 championship. Ooh, ouch. Perez was 7th, pitted early. That obviously helped him get up the order. It was a good move on Grosjean after the virtual safety car that got him that extra place. Grosjean had a pretty good race. He's now scored more points this season, despite his bad start, than he has in any of his other 2 years at Haas. So it shows you just how well he's driven in these last couple of races. And I didn't realise that. And obviously I've been a bit critical of the Frenchman, so you know what, I need to put my hands up there. Got done by Perez at the virtual safety car restart, but it's still good points for the team in the battle for the 4th place in the Constructors. Ocon 9th, he pitted early. Still annoyed about that red flag penalty for FP3, but he recovered well for more points for the team. Sainz done 10th and the final point, recovered for late to get that final point, done a long first stint, that's what made it happen. Gasly felt he was left out too late on his first stint, which meant he lost time to those around him, and then the tyres were gone in the last laps as well, so not the greatest for them. They also had to change something. They wanted to change something on the grid, which was given the okay by the FIA about upshifts. They're getting a bit of hesitation in the upshifts, and then the FIA said no, you can't do that, you need to change it back. No clarification given at the moment as to why. Ericsson was 12th, he hit Leclerc at the safety car restart. It's not a terrible result, but it could have been a lot better for the Sauber driver. Tyres was on them for a long time, they were just gone by the end. Hartley 13th, dropped places early, lost a lot of traction, couldn't really recover from it, but he at least managed to get to the end of the race. Alonso 14th, made a good start, made up about 5 places early doors in fact from his starting place. We've got a 5-second penalty for gaining the advantage, but again just couldn't get anywhere near the top 10 by the end of the race. Van Dorn finished 0.8 of a second behind his teammate, but if you take that 5-second penalty out of the equation, still not able to finish ahead of his teammate. And yeah, you'd probably just be thinking, where am I driving next year? Rumour that the Belgian might go to IndyCars, that's been talked about, and considering Alonso might go there, could they still be teammates next year? Who knows? That could be interesting. Can you imagine those two teammates in identical cars? That could be fun. That could be interesting. Sorokin was next. He was in 16th, pitted early under a safety car, didn't do anything for him. Stroll was 17th, same as his teammate, 5-second penalty put him behind as well. Leclerc was out of the race, obviously hit by his teammate, hit by Magnussen in the wars. Some good moves as well, but damage obviously put him out of the race. Hulkenberg started in the mediums, ran long, was never anywhere during the race to be honest, and he's retired. Magnussen, messy race early doors, too much damage. Amazing pass, so as I say, on Leclerc through 130 yard, but the damage put him out of the race. In the standings, Hamilton 331 points to Vettel's 264. So as I say, Hamilton can wrap it up next time out in Austin if he finishes first and Vettel does not finish second. There is other permutations, but I'm not going into them. Bottas third, 270, Raikkonen's 196, so the Finns are still fighting it out over third. Verstappen's slowly catching them. But he's going to need to go something to try and get into that battle. Ricciardo's sitting in 6th on his own. And then the Formula B second class championship, whatever you want to call it, for 7th place, Perez, Magnussen and Hulkenberg are all on 53 points. So that's going to the wire. Alonso's on 50 and Ocon's on 49, so 5 drivers could easily finish in 7th. And constructors, Mercedes 538, Ferrari on 460, Red Bull 319, Renault 92, Haas on 84, so 8 points in it for 4th. And then McLaren 58, Force India 43, so I think Force India are going to pass McLaren pretty easily before the end of the season. Toro Rosso 30, Sauber 27, Williams on 7. But that is it. One more time, it's 2 weeks time for Austin as we come towards the end of the season. My name is Andy once again. If you have enjoyed this race review one more time, do hit the like button, hit subscribe as well, and comment below of what you enjoyed off the race. What did you think of the move from the picture, the screenshot on the screen? Did Vettel need to go for that move? I don't think he did, and I think it's just another chink in his armour, but what do you think? Also, I have been now commentating on AOR, Apex Online Racing, on Sunday nights, and do check out their channel as well, and you can hear from me on the F2 on the PlayStation 4, so Tier 2 on the PlayStation 4 on Sunday nights at 8 o'clock. Next race this coming Sunday. It's the Chinese Grand Prix, round 3 of the season. Some fantastic action last night in Bahrain with a freeway scrap for the win, so do look out for that. You can hear from myself and my commentary partner Ollie as we enjoy some fantastic online racing from Apex Online Racing. But for me, till next time, I'll see you again soon. Ta-ra.